Okay, what's up guys? Paul here. I'm just going to do a quick reaction video to some of the bonus footage which has been put out by ESPN of the Ultimate Fighter 31 season. So this bonus footage, you know, it's supposed to be some really juicy stuff that was just about left on the cutting room floor. But this one clip I'm going to show here, like, I honestly can't believe the UFC saw fit to put it out, given the poor and pathetic state Conor McGregor is in the clip. And I'm going to break down. You might think a bit over the top. I am into my psychology, and I am into communication and conversation and the way that dialogue takes place. And I just found the whole interaction of this clip really strange and disappointing, and a bit sad to see the way that he is and the way that he acts. As far as what he actually says in it, I think a lot of people might have missed most of what he said, because he's so hard to understand these days, even for Irish people, even for Dubliners like me. At the very start of this clip, he's speaking pure drunken Dublinese, and I honestly think only Dublin people will truly understand what he said right at the start. I'd be very surprised if most North Americans heard it. You know, it's incredible to think that not too long ago this man was hailed as the next coming of Cicero, this amazing, articulate, great speaker who could leave his fans in awe and thrall. What have I become? Okay, Jamie, roll the clip. Okay, just pause it right there. Seconds into this piece of bonus footage which the UFC and the Ultimate Fighter production team thought was so gold that they had to show you, is a drunken McGregor asking Keane Cowley if they're going to head out, while Mando Gutierrez, who is fighting either the next day or the day after that, it's within 2 days for sure, I think it was the next day, is cutting Keane Cowley's hair, and he's cutting weight himself. In front of him, they're his coaches. They're talking about having a quick cheeky night out on the Vegas Strip, right? Because the tough show, of course, happened in Vegas. Do you want to head out? Is the first thing McGregor said there, yeah? And then he corrects himself and he just mumbles to himself like a drunken, decrepit old granddad. He says something very like, "Oh no, I thought it was Friday or Saturday for a second." I'm going to replay it. I try to hear him say, "I thought it was a Friday or a Saturday for a second," yeah? Listen close.
Do you want to head out? No, it's a Friday, Tuesday.
And then Cowley says to him, Cowley, who's sitting there getting his haircut, "Tuesday, you mad cunt." Yeah, it's a Tuesday. McGregor thought it was a Friday or a Saturday. Doesn't matter what day it is. Shouldn't be going out on the strip for a lad's piss up night out into some strip clubs or whatever, bars, drinking whiskey and just going out on a lad's night out. Mate, you're 34 years old, he's got 3 kids, you're the coach of the Ultimate Fighter. Could you not put a lid on the nights out, limit it to maybe 1 or 2 at the end of the show, take them all out? But to be talking about, well, we have our own little night out here, while Mando Gutierrez, the man you're coaching, he's preparing to fight the next day, talking about skipping out for a night out. Right, so Mando Gutierrez, a Mexican from Jalisco who grew up in Detroit, I believe he's a barber up in Detroit. I just read up a little bit on his bio. He seems to be completely unaware of, he's probably in his own world trying to get himself, stay in the mode for his fight coming up either the next day or the day after. And over there is McGregor, like, drooling and creaming himself over a poured can of fucking stout. Like, you'd swear you've just seen one of the wonders of the world, like some eureka moment. You have to invent something. He's literally poured a can can. There's a can of beer actually I have right here that I was drinking last night that I haven't finished, my own can of beer. I'm not being a hypocrite. I do drink beers. All you got to do is pour that into the glass like that, and it's going to come out and the cream is going to rise to the top. That's the way a stout works. And he's like, look at that, that's called the avalanche, yeah? I mean, it's shameless propaganda or promoting your own stout on the Ultimate Fighter show. And second, just like no one cares. No one actually gives a fuck about seeing a pint poured on a fighting show. We want to hear the stories of the guys. We want to see more fighting action. Don't want to see Conor McGregor just pouring a pint of Guinness, I mean, forged Irish stout, and then just creaming himself, getting a hard on. Oh, look at that. I mean, it's not that impressive and it's not that interesting, and you look like a drunk uncle standing over this pint talking this absolute nonsense just moments after talking we have our own night out, will we? So yeah, let's continue. I think that part he said was put D in it, yeah, which would be put a design like as in as if it was a coffee barista making coffee art. That's fine. That was all right. It wasn't that funny. He cackles and laughs. That's another thing. He's a bit like David Brenty almost. There's a couple of other clips. Like there's a clip where you see him say, "I'm gonna go down to the cellar to get more whiskey," and he does the walking downstairs from behind the wall. And it's like, I just don't really think he's that funny anymore. Apart from the epic, legendary line which he uttered at the beginning of the show when he was put in the room with Chandler and they tricked the both of them to go and wait in the room, and the famous line came out, "You'll do what you're told."
You'll do what you're told.
That was brilliant. Although when you watch the original footage, it wasn't as epically delivered. The UFC and the Ultimate Fighter crew spliced it and edited it perfectly together to make McGregor look as brilliant as possible and make Chandler look as cowardly as possible. It didn't quite go down like that. Nonetheless, the "you'll do what you're told" line was brilliant. Apart from that, I haven't heard or seen much impressive words from McGregor in this show, and this is just pathetic watching him drunkenly drool over his can of beer, yeah? Stout.
Guys gotta line you up, get you bladed up. Yeah, good. All it was?
Check this out, Conor. Look.
Check this out, Conor. Look.
Alright, so now we're going to see a wide-eyed Mando Gutierrez approach McGregor and show him pictures of his family. Alright, this is a guy he probably grew up idolizing, and he's just so stoked and excited to show McGregor his family. Alright.
This is my little brother, the one I was telling you about. That's my youngest little brother. That's 19. That's the he's like 5 or something.
Yeah, we're from Mexico. Yeah, we're all from Mexico.
Cowboy hats, what is like farmers or something, or what the fuck?
Oh yeah.
That's just a bit not a great way to deliver your line, is it? Oh wow, you've got the ranchero hats, the cowboy hats on. You using farming, you use cowboys. These cowboys are what the fuck? Again, this was not the way McGregor used to talk. If you back on the 2014 Ultimate Fighter, he would have been way more engaged and genuinely curious and sober, and he would have just delivered that line a whole lot cleaner. So, when Mando Gutierrez tells him he's Mexican, by the way, how did he not know he was Mexican yet? Have you not read up the bios of all your fighters? He cut your hair yesterday, you've been in the gaff with him for close to a week now, I think, and you still don't know, with his name Gutierrez and his morenito skin tone, you don't know he's Latino, and you didn't have a guess that he could be Mexican? Like that's quite revealing to me. That's really revealing. The lack of interest, genuine empathy and care he has for these guys. That he sat in the barber chair with him for at least 30 minutes the day before, and it didn't come up to ask him, like, where are you from, man? Where'd you grow up? Like, what sort of gyms have you been in? Tell me about your fighting background, your amateur career to make it to the pros. Yeah? None of that. It's all just me, cut my hair, let's talk about my forged Irish stout, let's get all my stuff and my stuff with Chandler to the forefront. It should be about these guys, and the fact he didn't know he was Mexican yet is mad to me. That's really mad. And so, but then the part where, when he tells him he's Mexican, McGregor comes out with all this random babble stuff. And, oh, no way, yeah, the Mexicans, yeah, I got the Mexicans on with the whiskey, yeah. And they're great people, you know what I mean, Catholics. I think he says, if we replay this, I think he mentioned the fact that they're Catholics.
Oh, yeah.
I think he says Catholics, the fact that Mexicans have Catholic culture and heritage. But like, just a real weird kind of barrage of words to throw at a guy who just told you he's from Mexico. Would you not just say, oh, no way, you're from Mexico, no way, man. Great fighting culture. Awesome. Canelo, Chavez, De La Hoya, Lucha Libre. I don't know, but to bring in your whiskey again, I'm on the West, I'm on, man with the Mexicans on the whiskey. What's that even mean? Like, Mando Gutierrez was like, all right, you're in with the Mexicans on the whiskey. All right, sound. Okay, roll the clip on. My mate's a Mexican, Tony's Mexican, so I know when I come up against a Mexican, it's a fight. Hear how slurry and drunkenly he blurted those words out. Just because the guy said he's a Mexican, he's coming out with this real lachrymose, emotional, over-emotional, drunken talk. It's just weird to me. It's just very weird to me.
Yeah, this is the other one, Junior. This is Junior, this is the middle brother. Out of the three of us, he has the best fight IQ out of the three of us. Can you get me a pair of cowboy boots, Kenny? Oh, yeah.
He's showing the three brothers. They all fight. McGregor doesn't have any brothers. He's the only one in his family. I will be straight in there like, no way, your brothers also fight. And he has a high fight IQ. And where are they? Which gyms are they at? Are they pro? Are they amateur? Show me their Instagram. Show me their last fight. They could be sitting there all night looking at fights of Gutierrez's brothers. They could be doing so much more. But it's just mostly got to be about McGregor and his whiskey. And about, are they going to be able to sneak out for a night out? That's what they want to do. They want to go out and get smashed even more drunk. Can you get me a pair of cowboy boots as well? This clip was shown back to the ESPN office, or the studio, where Michael Chiesa is there with the host, whose name I don't know. And they came out with this real sort of shilly propaganda. Oh, like, look, McGregor really cared about this. He really cared to look at these pictures. No, he didn't. Straight away, he was like, could you get me cowboy boots? As the guy tells you, his brothers are fighters. He's three brothers. He say, there's three of us? Let me just go back. Or do you say it's two brothers? Let me just confirm that.
Yeah, this is the other one, Junior. This is Junior, this is the middle brother. Out of the three of us, he has the...
There's two brothers, right? Out of the three of us.
Best fight IQ out of the three of us. Can you get me a pair of cowboy boots? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll get you. Yeah, my family's from Jalisco. We are Jalisco. Right, it's actually where tequila is. We're all on tequila. Yeah. Yeah, that's my girl right there. That's my girl. He'll say. Yeah.
So he just told him he's from the home of tequila, where the agave plant is grown. McGregor has a whiskey brand. It's a really fascinating piece of information for such an alcohol connoisseur as he is. Maybe he could look for some sort of branding thing in the future, a sort of collaboration between tequila and whiskey. And that just went completely over his head. First of all, he says, Jalisco, yeah, is that where you're from, Jalisco? He doesn't know anything about where that is. That's the state, the home of, the capital of which is Guadalajara. Of course, I'm here in Mexico. I have a bit of advantage on that, but you might know that Canelo is from Jalisco. You might have a little bit of geographical knowledge. If you ever went on the Wikipedia page of Canelo, you'd see it says Guadalajara, Jalisco. And so you just might have thought he'd have a bit more geographical sort of sense of Mexico there when he told me he's from Jalisco, and then he just said it was Jalisco. So yeah, and then when he showed him his girl, he's just like, yeah, keep that all in there, keep that all in there. So overall, this, what was it, where does it start? This like minute and 30-second clip was just, it was a very weird watch to me. It was a bit uncomfortable just looking how disengaged and Drunken McGregor is. This is a fighter who's looking up to him, who's fighting the next day. They should be like all about that. All right, it's good to relax. They should be relaxing and get your mind off the fight as well. But don't be drinking in front of him. Don't be drunk in front of him. And like show a bit more interest in this guy's background. You say you love that he's Mexican. He's just told you he's from Jalisco, the home of Canelo, a guy you said you might fight. I'd fight Canelo, yeah? Out straight, yeah? That's what he said recently. And also the fact it's the home of tequila. Like a really fascinating piece of information you got there, and you just didn't care. So that was a clip I just wanted to show up and bring up that I felt people might want to see in a proper analysis. I saw a couple of people looking at it on Twitter and saying this was a great piece of footage, they should have put that into the real show. I just don't think they realize how drunk McGregor is here. Like, I'm not saying he's obliterated, legless, but he's had about 2 or 3 of those cans, I would estimate, and he's about to have a 4th with the way he's like stumbling over it and slurring his words. I mean, he might be drinking early in the morning as well. He might be sort of like sipping away on the whiskey all day. I don't know, but he just looks poorly. He doesn't look good, you know, and he doesn't express himself well. And I just don't think it bodes well for anything. It doesn't bode well for his brand, for his future, for the Chandler fight. And I think that this kind of stuff might be why Dana White is starting to express doubt over whether the fight will take place. It's not about, oh, McGregor's so rich, like Dana White came out saying, you guys got to understand, he's had so much money. We know that. We've known that for 5 or 6 years since the Floyd fight. And that was a reason why he seemed to be retiring and pulling out of the game for a while in 2019, 2020. But he's back now. There's been a whole Netflix documentary about how it's going to be the greatest comeback in sports history. He's completely committed to it. He said he will have 3 or 4 fights a year. It's never going to happen, but that's what McGregor has said. He's come to do The Ultimate Fighter as a commitment to promote and prepare for the Chandler fight. And for Dana White to say it might not even happen now, I think is not about McGregor not wanting it. I think the UFC might be looking at him and his overall shape and demeanour on this tough and sort of saying like, we might have to save him from himself here and take him out of the line of fire, because Chandler will absolutely blitz him in a very, very humiliating fashion if he shows up looking like this, you know. So I wanted to show you guys that tough clip. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of the way McGregor is looking and talking and acting on this show. If you find him entertaining, if you find that interesting, I really want to know, do people find that clip in any way funny or interesting? Looking at McGregor talking about getting a sneaky night out on the Vegas Strip in front of his fighters who are preparing for fights, who are looking up to this guy for years. The chance they've had, the chance they were waiting for to have this guy as their coach, and they've got the worst version of McGregor ever, this drunken, sloppy mess.